Hello, everyone, and welcome to Green Building, how Revit can be used for sustainable design. My name is Juliana, and I work in marketing here at MicroCAD. And today's presenter is Sandra, our applications specialist. At today's webinar, we'll explore the power of Revit in creating environmentally conscious design in this insightful webinar. As usual, throughout the whole time, you can ask a question on the left-hand corner. You can ask Sandra to revisit a step or ask any questions. This is your time, and we want you to make the most of it. And in the upper right-hand corner, you will find links to our social media, website, and YouTube channel. We post all of our webinars there at the end, so you can share with colleagues or we're watching it on your own time. We will also be sending the on-demand recording of this webinar. So we also have the registration section there, so you can check out our upcoming webinars. And even if you cannot make it, you can register so you can get the on-demand recording. Okay, without further ado, I'll pass it on to Sandra. Hey, Sandra.
Hi, Juliana. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Hi, everybody. My name is Sandra Vogelmuth. Let me start by sharing my screen. As I said, my name is Sandra Vogelmuth. I am an application specialist with MicroCAD. Have been so for the last 4 years. A little bit of a background about me. Before that, I was a BIM CAD manager for an MEP firm for 7 years. I have been involved with Revit and Autodesk products since 2005. So very passionate about this. I'm also very passionate about sustainable design. I think we are at a good moment in history and a good moment in time to get ourselves more geared into thinking about how we can make our projects and our buildings more sustainable. So going into that subject, I know we're going to be talking about Revit, but I'm going to veer a little bit off of Revit when I present to you what I'm showing you today, because there are a couple of plugins that I want you to be aware of, and I'm going to also mention a product that comes with the AEC collection. It's also a plugin for Civil 3D. So first of all, repeating a statement, Autodesk suite of products are have tools and have options for you to make your buildings so much more sustainable, or to improve the sustainability performance of your buildings. So the first tool that I want to talk to you about is a tool that will help you control the indoor environmental quality of your projects, and you're going to do that through Revit's daylight analysis tool, which performs daylight analysis, accurate simulations of daylight analysis, I mean, it's a tool that is native of Revit. You just need to make sure that you install the daylight analysis tool into your Revit. You can download it from your product and services in your Autodesk website, and then you will have access to the tool. It is advisable to go through the whole process of creating spaces so that the tool can give you a better analysis of your tools. The analysis types that you can run through the analysis tool is the luminance analysis, where you have full custom control over date, time, threshold, and analysis plane height. You have the daylight factor, you have the daylight autonomy. You can do the LED 2009 IEQC8 option 1 analysis. You can also run the LED version 4 EQC7 option 1 analysis. And you can run the LED QC7 option 2 analysis. All these analyses have automated settings because they are set for lead analysis. And you can also run an analysis for solar axis, which is customizable for the hours of sun study. And that can all be run within Revit itself. HVAC designers will be able to use system analysis and heating and cooling load calculations that are also native of Revit. The heating and cooling loads demands of the building, they have a workflow. So you first have to create your spaces. Out of the spaces, you can create zones. Then you have to prepare the project to run those analyses. And then, as I said, you can use that integrated tool within Revit to calculate your loads and create a report. You can also, and this is very coveted for MEP designers, after you create spaces, you can create the analysis model, which will allow you to export that file as a GBXML file, which can be used in your heating and cooling analysis softwares to do your heating and cooling calculations. That GBXML can then be saved from that software and overwrite the original file that came out of Revit, and then it can be imported back into Revit and can be used further in Revit to continue designing your project and have those calculated values filled in your spaces so that you know how much air you're inputting into your rooms and what the needs are as per your heating and cooling load calculations. Okay. So that is the next tool that I find incredibly useful. Again, this tool, that all those heating and cooling loads calculations, they are native and inside of Revit itself. You just need to learn how to run the workflows to have them, to create these files. Obviously, you can come to us and we obviously teach how to run all those tools and get this GBXML file ready. I know that when I was in my MEP firm, engineers were very appreciative of that GBXML file because, as you know, the heating and cooling analysis software that is out there is very time consuming because you need to create space by space, as I call it, on foot. So this tool is a huge time saver to run those analysis. Next thing that is important when we're thinking about sustainability is that you need to be able to report your life cycle impact of Revit, of your building, sorry. And there is a plugin called LCA, Life Cycle Assessment Software. It runs on top of Revit and it allows you to get information of all the materials and the carbon impact of all the materials that are within the Revit model. Going to show you a couple of screenshots of that software. It gets built within Revit, once you install it, it will give you a tab, and it will give you these dialog boxes where you can define if you want to run it in the cloud or if you want to run the software within Revit itself. It will give you options. It will list all the materials that are within the Revit model. Furthermore, it will give you options if you want to keep the family types group, or if you want to split your family types into materials for more detailed models. It will allow you to define what segment of the model you want to use and what design option you want to use. And then it will list all the materials that you have within the model to give you more informed and to give you reports that you can use later on for certification of your projects. As I said, I'm going to move a little bit away from Revit. The sustainable site stormwater is going to be built on top of Civil 3D. And it will allow you to use the most common methodologies to define and to create a greener infrastructure regarding your stormwater. And it builds on top of InfraWorks. The next tool, and I'm returning back to Revit, and this is part of the tools that come with the AEC collection. It is Insight. So once you have a Revit model, and you can have you can start your analysis with Insight very early in your design process. You can start with just by doing a massing study, and you can send that model to Insight and get your energy performance, and you can optimize, obviously, your design from the get-go, even before you start putting walls. And you just can send the massing studies and make an assumption of your wall to window ratio, and Insight will give you a whole bunch of parameters. So it will give you better building performance. It has real-time feedback. It has an analysis for the whole building energy. It does a daylight analysis. It has also heating and cooling loads analysis. And even more important for sustainability is that it allows you to run a total carbon analysis for Revit, for your architects, for your buildings, and it will give you how the carbon impacts your whole Revit energy analytical model. So you can make the shift to a low carbon design with just next generation sustainability tools. So it offers you a flexible dashboard to evaluate embodied and operational carbon. It allows you to create simulations, iterations, and visual comparisons of carbon reduction scenarios from early state of design. As I said, you can start by creating massing studies and then start building your design and continue running iterations of Insight to give you a better answer of how the metrics and the total carbon emissions of your building are being handled. So as you can see, you get these from the model that you created. you get these tables where you can define the building location, the building type, the area per building, and the operational carbon, and or for a 1 year lapse of time, the carbon impact in your BIM workflow. And then, as I said, Insight supports integrated analysis of building form and orientation, envelope the design, the internal loads, the HVAC systems, the material types, the quantities, renewable offsets, energy costs, and more factors that you can define. So the analysis that you're running in Insight are what I'm going at. They're customizable. Okay, so you can run different analysis and get different metrics of the carbon impact of your design, and all these tools, as I said before, will allow you to create designs that are so much more friendly with the environment. And with that, I would like to open up the floor for questions.
Thank you, Sandra, for that wonderful presentation. Let me go over the questions now. Okay, the first question we have is, which of the products that you showed today are included with Revit, which are part of the AEC?
So as I mentioned before, the daylight analysis tool is included in Revit, native Revit. Insight is part of the tools that you get with the AEC collection. The tool for the life cycle analysis of the building, that is a plugin, but it's and the stormwater analysis is also a plugin. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. And the second question we have is, where do you set the thermal properties for Revit families, like walls and floors?
When you define, that is a very good question, because the more you fine tune your model, the more you want all those metrics to be accurate. And when you create your wall assemblies, and that is a class that I teach also, how to create those wall assemblies, within Revit, you have the in the materials, in the Revit materials, you have a tab within the Revit materials that allow you to set the thermal properties of the materials, and those have to be set properly so that your R values of your walls and of your floors and of your roofs and all your building elements are accurate, so that you get better analysis. I mean, you cannot go with generic walls to do these analysis. You have to go a little bit deeper inside of Revit to get accurate metrics from the software. Awesome question.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, next question is, what are your inputs for Insight in order to generate accurate results?
Well, you need to be able to, in Revit, create proper materials. B, you need to be able to place your project properly regarding the north location. You need to create spaces to send out to Insight. and then just send the project to start your iterations and your analysis and insight. And at some point, you should be able to start defining it. I mean, I'm not saying really granular, but you should be able to start defining your heating and cooling load systems, and that all that happens within Revit. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Sandra. And we have another question. We'll try to answer it. Um, what are the most commonly used methods for minimizing environmental impacts on Revit? Can energy mix be changed? Can recycling be accounted for? Are there models that exist already that we can use to understand the methods to make a building more sustainable?
Wow. I mean, uh, the um, the metrics, the answers that you get from Insight will allow you to, even if, I mean, I'm not a sustainability expert, but I know that I can see the metrics, right? And it will give me the energy consumption of the building. Right? So if I'm having a high consumption in my heating and cooling loads, right, I might be able to go back into Revit and just turn the building a little bit regarding its location towards the sun, and depending on where I am in the world. But if I am, if I am very much in the north, as our main offices are in the Boston area, then I will want to have my building facing uh, having wide south facing windows so that I can absorb a lot of heat in the winter time to offset a little bit of my heating loads in the winter time. And those different iterations, those changes, and I can do that through design options and Revit, they will give me the answer of my energy consumption. So that is part of what can happen through Insight. Waste management and all that, no, you cannot do it out of Revit.
Thank you, Sandra. And regarding the first question, we have the same person asking on, but how do you tell it which XPS insulations you use, or which spray foam, or what cement replacement you use in your concrete? Does Insight get that detail, or is it only
No,
for very generic, very general results?
no, you get that granularity of detail. You put that into Revit, right? So all those materials, you can ask the manufacturer what their R value is, and then you have to create a wall assembly and fix those values within Revit and run your analysis and insight and see the difference. Right? The more that your thermal mass of a wall, the higher the R value, the less heat or cold it will absorb and reproduce towards the inside. So it's a combination of creating a proper assembly in Revit and setting those values within Revit and then running your analysis in Insight. And Insight will give you, it will store the different analysis that you ran. Right? So within one model, you can create that as design options. And just as I mentioned before, you can twist the building or you can change your wall assemblies and make them, give them a better R value, right? You can change the shading in certain windows and offset the absorbance or transmittance of um, heat through the walls and through the windows, and run different iterations of the same project. And Insight will allow you to compare the different iterations that you ran so that you can see the energy expenditure and usage of your building.
Okay, and they say, but what about embodied carbon? Are there parameters for that?
Um, that, yeah, I would have to investigate that question.
No problem. And I just wanted to also remind everyone that if you want to learn any of these topics in detail, you can always take a custom training with Sandra or someone else in our team. And we also offer group classes online. So yeah, I just want you to encourage you to check the Microcap website. You have the events section on the right hand, I believe. We highly encourage you to check those out. And if you have any interest in them, and even if you cannot make it, just register so you can get the on demand recording. We also have here our phone numbers based on region and also my contact information in case you want to inquire anything or have any more questions. And we will also be sending again the on demand recording of this webinar, I believe, tomorrow, and we will be sending you an email, like a thank you email after this webinar, so you can also reply there. So yeah, you have here our contact information, you have our website for webinars, and we will also be sending you an email after this. So yeah, you have multiple channels where you can contact us back in case you need anything. We'll get you up and running. So yeah, if we don't have any more questions, I would like to thank you everyone for all the engagement, for all these questions, for taking the time. Thank you so much, Sandra. I know this is a subject we're scratching the surface, but hopefully if you guys enjoyed it, we can develop a more in detail webinar about this topic. So yeah, thank you everyone, and thank you, Sandra.
And thank you everybody for attending today's webinar, and hope to see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye now.